Hey friends, okay friends, hey friends, home sweet home. Hey friends, the security audit logs inside of HubSpot have gradually been getting better and better. For a long time, they were just spreadsheets you could download, and then they moved into the UI last year, which is great. And now they've all been combined together into one big filterable list inside the UI. So check this out. Here I am just in my settings, and there is this new audit logs area right here under data management. If we just click on that, it's currently in beta, but we get this full list of all of the things that are in the logs, right? And you can filter these, right? So if you want to see like CRM object, then you get some subcategories. You can see, what have people been doing with my deals, and you can see who did it and when, and you can even go to the record. You can filter this by people and by action and by date, and you can export this if you want it as a spreadsheet. But my favorite part of this, while it's in beta, is this button. Got some feedback? Let us know here. If there's anything you think is missing from this, if there's something you're expecting to see in this audit log that is not here, or if you're expecting it to be displayed differently, or if there's anything you want, just click on this. Give us a smiley face based on how you're feeling. I'm always over here, but you do you. And you can literally just say, please give me the thing I want. I mean, give more detail than that. But our team that built this is so hungry to know how to make it actually meet your needs as well as possible. Friends, I've got a tiny little update that I'm sure will remove an enormous thorn from so many of your sides. Now, when you deactivate a user, if they have a paid seat assigned to them, you can decide what to do with it. Check this out. So here I am on the users page, and Cam Bishop here is a sales enterprise user. So if we deactivate him, look what we get. We can unassign the paid seat so that it's not assigned to anybody, or we can keep it assigned to the deactivated user. This used to just happen by default, and you had to reactivate the user and remove it to get it. Now, in the process of deactivating the user, you can unassign the paid seat so that you can assign it to someone else later. Hey friends, it's now easier to buy a domain from GoDaddy from within HubSpot if you need to. Check this out. Here we are on my domains and URLs page. This is under website settings, domains and URLs. Here you can see I haven't connected a domain at all. And there's now a nice buy a domain button, which will send me to GoDaddy to find a domain if I want to. Or if I hit connect a domain and I get to this stage and realize, oh, I clicked the connect a domain, but I don't actually have one, same thing, we can click this button and go buy one from GoDaddy. Hey friends, I've got a new conversation property you're going to want to add to your custom views. Check this out. So here I am in the inbox, and if I create a new view, we might call this need update from us. These are ones we want to respond to because this new conversation property is called last message from visitor, and it's true false. So if this is true, the last message in this conversation came from the external person and they're waiting for us to answer. If it's false, the last message came from us and we're waiting on them to answer. Friends, you can now set default views for new users on any index page. Check this out. Here I am on the contacts page, but it really doesn't matter that it's a contacts page. You can do this for deals or any other object. What you're going to do is you're going to go to this all views tab. But before we go there, notice here I am, and I have my views are here in tabs across the top. And users can choose what views they see here. But until today, admins have not been able to set them up for users. But now look, there's a new tab here in the all views screen called default views. And what you're going to be able to do here is add views that exist. These are standard views. Here are some custom views. You can decide how they're going to go. Over here's a preview of what they'll look like, and you can rearrange them into the order you want, or remove them if you want, and just get them exactly right, and then you can just save it. And these settings will apply to new users. But we're hoping to expand it beyond that. If you want to give us some feedback, click on this button, and you can give us some feedback. Friends, I've got to tell you about this big update because it's really big. It's one of those things that people have asked me about, and I've said, it's not possible. It won't happen because it's not possible. And now, not only is it possible, it's happening. Now, this is a slow rollout. It's just starting today, and it's going to take at least till March 1st for it to get to everyone. So there's no opt-in. There's nothing you need to do. Just wait for it to come and check, because you're going to be so excited. So as to not hold you in any more suspense, let's go to the contacts page. So here I am on the contacts page. It's not important that this is a contacts page. What I'm about to show you will work on any index page for any object inside of HubSpot. Let's filter. So let's just say, for fun, we want a filter for contact owner is me. Fine, no big deal, right? Nothing new. Watch this. We have OR filtering! You can do and filtering and OR filtering, and it's all still real time right here on the index page. So look, let's just, I don't know, let's say annual revenue is unknown. I don't know. Now, if either of those things are true, it'll work, and we can do and filtering inside here, right? Associated company is, I'm just doing things really fast, right? Like, you can do all the and or filtering you've ever wanted to do right here on the index page, and it's in real time.
Hey friends!
Hey friends, we now have default login track settings for the sales extension that you use in Gmail and Outlook. Check it out. So here I am in my object settings under activities. There's an email login track tab where there's a lot of settings here, including your never log and manual logging things. But you can now apply default log setting for all users in the sales extensions, log emails by default or not. You can apply default extensions for all users in the sales extension. And you can apply default track settings on or off for all users across the sales extension. Hey friends, it's not often I talk about things like HubDB because design stuff scares me, but this update is cool enough I had to give it a try, so let's hop right in. Here I am on a HubDB table that I put together. This is a list of books, and typically when you manage content in HubDB, so you can make dynamic pages and things, you manage it in a table view like this, and you can add rows to the bottom, and you can edit things in line. But look what we've added here. This is now in beta. You don't need to opt into it. It'll just appear. But if you go to the ID area and hit this drop down, there's an edit button. And clicking that takes you to this, which would look way cooler if I knew anything about design. But what we're seeing here, this is now all that table information for this row in a form. And on the right here, we're seeing how it appears in this dynamic page I've created called Dynamic Stuff. Now, I've put obviously zero design effort and expertise into this, so we're just displaying the book title. But what you would see if you did this, because you're better at this stuff than I am, you would see the full page here with all of its design and all of its elements. And as you edited these things on the side, you would be able to see how they looked, and you would be able to preview anything in the table to see how they would be displayed in any of your dynamic pages. I don't know, friends. Is it safe to say at this point that the importer is one of the most exciting parts of HubSpot right now? It's been getting so many new features, so many new updates that have been so incredibly impactful. And apparently that team's not done yet because they just came out with another one. So if you are opted into the beta where you can do the mapping thing at the top where you can choose like unique IDs and stuff, you just got another piece added into that beta for controlling whether new records are created or old records are updated. Let me just show you because it's so cool. Here I am in an import, and we'll just do a contacts import right here. There is now this drop-down menu. This is a contacts import, so it's just talking about contacts, but you can do this for anything. Create and update contacts is what you've always done. But if you only want to pull in new records and ignore any records in your spreadsheet that already exist, based on HubSpot's deduplication logic, or if you only want to update existing records based on deduplication and not bring in any new records, you can do that now just by selecting the appropriate thing from this dropdown. And look, this works not just for a single object import, but if we were doing like companies and deals, we could do the same thing for companies and for deals and do them differently, right? So cool, so cool. So let's back up and just see what it looks like, because one thing I want you to be aware of here is what happens when you put these rules in place. So here is a spreadsheet that has some old and some new contacts in it. And for this round, let's only create new contacts, okay? So we'll come in here and it maps everything. That's great. And look, if we expand this is the beta I was talking about. Look, we can see this is how we're going to create contacts. We have the necessary information, but we're not going to update any existing contacts. Great, great. So I agree, that's fine. Finish import. Now watch this. We give it a second. Okay, so there were 35 rows, but only 27 were imported. And look, there's an error in here. 6 values were not imported because we're only creating new things, right? And if we did it the other way around, you would see an error for the other way around. Hey friends, we're continuing to make incremental improvements to the list tool, so I have 2 more updates for you today about static lists. Check this out. Here I am on my list page, and if we scroll down and find a static list, here's one right here, we've added the ability under this More menu to clone. And when you clone a static list, you're going to see a few different options. You can clone it as an active list. If you just want to take these filters and make an active list, you can do that. You can clone it as a static list, same filters, or you can just take everyone who's currently a member of this list and put them in a new list without any filters at all, just manually adding them to a new static list that is called whatever you name it here. So that's super cool. The other thing is if you delete a static list like this, then you can now undelete it by going to the recently deleted folders. So historically, only active lists have been here. You can see this active list I deleted back in December, but now static lists will be here too. You can restore them just with a couple clicks of the button. This is now live. Check it out. Let me know what you think, and let me know if you have any questions. Friends, you can now take random samples from your lists. Check this out. So here I am on a list. This works for both active and static lists. Doesn't matter. Any list you've got, you can go to the Actions button, and there's this random sample option. And what you're basically going to do is create a new list, a static list, that is a random sample of this list. So you could call this, random sample of whatever. And you can say, I want 20 contacts, or you can say I want, 25% of my contacts, or whatever. It'll do the math for you, and then you can just create a list. And now I have a new list, and this is a randomly selected sample of that list. Hey friends, the presets tool that came out last year where you can set email signatures for people and their homepage and notification settings and all those things? Super cool, available in all professional and above subscriptions. But there's one part of it I've always been kind of embarrassed about, which is you do all this work to set it up, and then you go over to the users tab, and if you're applying this to 100 users, you have to go through and check them one at a time. And I've always kind of done a hand wavy and here you add your users, knowing that for some of you that was probably a pain point. Well, no more! Check out this new beta you can opt into. Here I am on the beta management page, and this beta that I've opted into is called Add Teams to Presets. What? Check this out. So if we go over to our settings, presets is under users and teams, and we can go to this presets tab. And you create a preset, and again, there's so many things you can do here. Default, homepage, dashboard, language, number format, email, signature, notification profiles, all this stuff. But now instead of a users tab, we have a users and teams tab. And instead of just having users in this dropdown, we also have teams in this dropdown. So you can add these presets to a whole lot of users a whole lot faster. Hey friends, if you're using QuickBooks Online, you should absolutely be using HubSpot's integration with it, and especially our workflow actions. So check this out. This is a deal-based workflow, and anytime a deal is moved to close one, we're going to create an open invoice, and you can set the payment terms and the customer. You can associate products, and your line items can come over. You're going to get an open invoice so you can collect payment. You can do the same thing with a quote-based workflow, right? When e-sign is completed, we're going to create an invoice that's going to have the products associated with it, all these things. You can take it a step further if you're using HubSpot payments. This is where things get really cool. Look, once a payment status is succeeded, you can create a paid invoice inside QuickBooks. And this has all the same options so that you can start recording when payment is completed. And if you want to take it even a step further, HubSpot takes a fee, and you can record that as an expense so that the paid invoice gets created and an expense gets created, so you are keeping track of the HubSpot fee, which you can just set up in here and apply to all your payments. Furthermore, with HubSpot payments, if the status is refunded, then we can create a refund receipt inside of QuickBooks so that you can keep track of your refunds also. Hey friends, the reporting team has created a new beta that lets you control how numbers are formatted on your reports. Check this out. So here I am on the product updates page. This is the beta we're talking about here. You'll need to opt yourself into that one to use this feature. But once you've done that, when you're building a report, you will now see the option for number properties to be formatted in the way you choose on your report. So since we're looking just for number properties, let's just filter by that real quick. And if we grab this calculation property, what you're going to see is you can edit this, and format is set to auto. We'll do the best we can to make it look right. But you can set it to a %, you can set it to a number, and regardless of what you do, you can control how many decimal places there will be. You can choose how negative numbers will be displayed. You can choose if the thousand separator is there. Whatever you want to do for these numbers and percents, or if it's a currency property, you can choose to have it displayed as currency. Friends, the meeting page now has filters. Check this out. So here I am on the meetings page, and for a while you've been able to look and see other users' meeting links, and you can see them all together here. But you can filter this by meeting type, business unit if you're using business units. So if you are looking for a particular round robin meeting and you can't remember what it's called, and you have so many of these here and you don't know who owns it, you just go to your round robin meetings and there it is. Hooray! Now we can copy it and share it out.
Hey friends, we've got the first update to the Security Center.
Yep, let's check it out. So the Security Center, remember, is under Account Defaults under the Security tab. If you click Visit Security Center, you're brought here. And for users that don't have two-factor authentication set up, we have this resolve button. It used to just take you to the users page, but now it shows you a list of the users that don't have two-factor authentication set up and gives you the ability to email them. Hey friends, got a subtle but powerful update to your custom surveys. So check this out. Here I am creating a custom feedback survey, and you can see the ratings question type is updated. So if I drag in a ratings question, this is going to be out of 10. And if we create a feedback property to store this in, look, we call it whatever we call it, this is now going to be a number property. Previously, it was some sort of enumeration or text property, and so you couldn't really do anything with it. But now that it'll be a number property, if you want to create a calculated field to do an average or a max or a min, you can do all of that. Hey friends, workflow errors are now organized differently to make them a little more actionable and to give you the option of ignoring them if you feel they can be ignored. So check this out. Here I am on the workflows page, and where there used to be workflows with errors, we now have at-risk workflows, because an error is a kind of risk. And so if we come in here, we can see I have 2 of these. Weather update for Kyle is a fun little recurring workflow I've made that sends me a weather report every morning. It tells me yesterday's weather and today's weather, so I can tell the delta there. And if I view the risks here, we can look back and see that on December 29th, something went wrong with the webhook I hit, and it wasn't able to update the property. But it seems like it happened once, more than a month ago. It's probably fine, so I'm going to ignore all until they repeat, and I'm just going to ignore these, and now I don't have to worry about them anymore. But if they come up again, then I will be alerted again, and I can know maybe I need to do some troubleshooting. But they're not gone forever. I'm looking at current risks. This workflow has no active risks. That's great. But if I want to look at temporarily ignored, I can see previously these ones were here, so they're not lost forever. Hey friends, the HubSpot app for Zoom now includes access to Playbooks. So check this out. Here I am in Zoom. And we have the HubSpot app pulled up here. There's an apps button you can access your apps from. And we can map participants here, right? I'm the only person in the call, so I'll just map myself to a contact. You can do associations. You've been able to take notes. These have been around for a while, but now you can access playbooks also. So if we want to access a playbook for this person, we can open the demo outline. And what's going to happen is in a new browser tab, the playbook is going to open just kind of in its own little window here. And we can shrink this up. And we can move Zoom over here, and we can now have this playbook and take notes and log things as the call is going. This is now live. You may have to uninstall, reinstall, force updates to the Zoom app, but once it flows through, you'll be able to use your playbooks. Check it out. Let me know what you think, and let me know if you have any questions.